In one of my recent videos, I talked about M1691, Service Bulletin from Harley Davidson. This bulletin is to improve the linked braking on the new touring models. So when you apply only the front brake, but maybe not enough rear brake, especially in a panic situation, the computer takes over for you and applies more rear brake or maybe less front brake or vice versa. So I decided to get this update done because some of you have been asking me if it made any difference. So this is the bulletin, M1691. The bulletin informs dealers that there's an electro-hydraulic control unit update available. This update improves the functionality of the link braking system. So I took my bike in and got this applied. It was free, of course. They do mention in the bulletin that the customer needs to have a complaint about their braking in order to get this done under warranty. So I had it done and I've tried to test it. So just jamming the front brake and jamming the rear brake. Here's what I will say. Sometimes in riding the bike, I've noticed in panic situations or aggressive situations, the bike will squirm a little bit, which is expected and what I'm used to. But after this update, it feels a little more stable. That's the best I can say. It doesn't want to squirm around as much as it used to. At least that's what I'm feeling. But for normal riding and normal braking, I didn't notice any change at all. So after testing this new update for a few days, all of a sudden on a ride, I see this icon appear on the screen. I really have not seen this icon before. It's a wrench. So I wasn't sure, is this urgent? Like, is there something really wrong with the bike? Do I need to get over and pull off? Well, it was amber in color, not red. It wasn't a check engine light, so I figured I was okay to ride it, but I couldn't figure out what would that be, a wrench icon. So when I got back home, I turned on my computer and opened up the service manual for my bike to see if I could figure out what is this wrench icon and what's it about. And this is what I found. The manual provides an excellent diagram of all the icons. And you can see there are quite a few on these new bikes. You may want to download this to your phone so you have it with you as you're traveling. Especially if you go somewhere long distance and suddenly an icon appears, you might want to understand what it's about. So I found it here. It is number 9, and there it is. It's the amber wrench icon. So we'll go down here and we'll look at number 9, and number 9 is a service indicator. So you need to perform some sort of service. If we scroll further down in the article, we'll find service indicator. And it says the service indicator turns on when the vehicle has detected that it needs an ABS bleed procedure to be performed. So, oh my gosh, do you have a problem with your ABS system and do you need to go right to the dealer? It's really not very clear, is it? One thing I've learned about these Harley-Davidson owner's manuals is they do update them as the years go by. So while they may say it one way in an older manual, they'll say it differently in a newer manual. So I decided to look at a current 2025 owner's manual, and this is what I found. So again, it's icon number 9, so the picture looks the same. But if we scroll down to number 9, it's brake fluid service indicator and not service indicator. So now it's a little more clear. It's saying that you need to have your brake fluid changed. Apparently, it's detected that. And if we scroll down and read the description, it says the brake fluid service indicator turns on when the vehicle has detected that it requires an ABS bleed procedure to be performed. See your Harley-Davidson dealer. So knowing this, I didn't think it was urgent, so I continued to ride the bike, and I made an appointment at my local dealer. And when I got there, they explained that the service indicator is a date timestamp. So there's a date timestamp stored in the bike as to when the fluid was last changed. Well, this bike is turning just 2 years old. So now that it's 2 years old, it's throwing up this warning saying, hey, your brake fluid's 2 years old, you need to change it. But what's interesting is they note an ABS bleed. Because I've changed my brake fluid myself for many years without any concern. And then on my 2018 CVO was the first bike I had with ABS. And I ran into this in the manual and it was very confusing. Can you still change your own fluid? I've seen videos where they say you can change your own fluid and demonstrate it. I made a video about brake fluid and changing it. So my plan was always, well, I'll just continue to monitor the moisture of my brake reservoir. So you buy one of the brake fluid measuring tools, and you take off your cover, make sure you do the front and the rear, and just dip that tool in, and you can see how much moisture is in your fluid. If you get out of range, then it's time to change it. And my theory is you can always just change the fluid, use a bleeder pump, that's the way to do it, so you're pushing all the old oil out of the system and replacing it with new oil without introducing any air. But what I'm learning is that the ABS system is a series of valves that open and close. And when you change your brake fluid, there are some areas of that module that are closed. The valves are closed. So while you will run fluid all the way through the system, both front and rear, you're actually not getting all of the fluid out of the ABS system. And you have to perform an ABS bleed. So what this procedure does is it cycles your ABS system. So it opens and closes all the valves and pushes the fluid through. So then you're changing all of the fluid in the system and not leaving any old fluid in certain chambers. So if you have really old fluid still in your ABS system somewhere and it starts to accumulate moisture, you could damage that component, and that's pretty expensive, and it could be a safety issue. However, there's still some room for debate as to how important an ABS bleed procedure is. But Harley is making note of it to the point now they put an icon on your screen. So is that just to make money, or is that for safety? I have to hope it's more about safety than it is about making money. I don't think they're making a ton of money off ABS bleed procedures, but I could be wrong. So if you wanted to do the ABS bleed procedure yourself, you can invest in a module. And there's a couple modules out there that will do the ABS bleed for you. It'll activate it so it pumps through all the old fluid. But what I found is most of those boxes now are difficult to get because they want you to be a dealer or an independent dealer. I think there's probably some legal ramifications. I know one option has been to buy a Power Vision. So the DynoJet company includes an ABS bleed option in the Power Vision. And DynoJet has just released the Power Vision for these new bikes. Pretty exciting. So you'll be able to tune your bike, do it yourself, and maybe do an ABS bleed procedure and clear off that light. However, they noted that feature is not in the system at this time. So if you're an early adopter, you're not going to have that feature, but it is expected to come at some point. So what did I do? Well, I wanted to get rid of the light, and I'm about to go to Sturgis, so I wanted to get it just taken care of. It was kind of on the spot, right? So I got both the front and the rears done. It was $183 each. So front and rear. So the total bill was $425.30. And you might think, that's just crazy, right? That's just Harley money. Well, I don't know. It's certainly a safety thing, so I'm not afraid to invest in a safety thing. And I figured it's been 2 years, and I have spent no money on maintenance with the dealer since I bought the bike because I do my own maintenance. But I felt it's not that bad if you look at it that way. However, I get it, it's painful, and we've never had a service indicator on a Harley before. And it's unique to the brake fluid. There's definitely a lot of confusion out there about what this indicator is. And you can see why, because in the owner's manual it wasn't very clear, but in 2025 they updated to say it's your brake fluid. So this will not come on at your scheduled services. You won't see this amber wrench come on at your 5,000 mile or your 10,000 mile. But it looks like you're going to see it every 2 years to remind you to change your brake fluid. My challenge is that you don't always need to change your brake fluid at 2 years. You want to test the moisture in it, and if you're outside of the range, that's when I would change it. But others will say, well, 2 years is a lot of time, so even if you don't have that much moisture in it, you still should do it. A lot of debate there. So if this light comes on, I think you could ride it for a while and you decide. I would check your moisture levels in your brake fluid. You should do that every year. It's easy enough. But you'll have to make the decision. How annoying is that amber wrench on your screen while you're riding around? I really hope you found this information useful, and if you did, you'll go share it with someone else. I'm also hunting for subscribers, So please consider it. But until next time, in the friction zone.